get there, whatever's open? Do you kind of look for a certain area? I know it sounds stupid, but I think it's kind of cool.
I've only had, it's pretty much wherever you're sitting, if there's an open spot, you just sign it. And typically, everybody signs every poster in the same spot, so it just works out that way that you sign it in the same spot. But like different events, no, not really. I'm not looking for the same part.
I want to do a contest, and I've mentioned this to a couple fighters, that, typically it's like the black Sharpie. And I want a fighter, and we promote it, we'd have a good time with it, sign one of those posters, just one, like in red or green or a different color, and then make some, like a lost and found hide and seek kind of thing to find out who gets that one poster.
Oh, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Now, I don't know if the UFC will allow that. I might have to talk to the powers that be, but I think that would be kind of cool. Speaking of collecting, do you collect anything, whether it's memorabilia, clothing, shoes?
Not really.
Dollar bills or Looney Toonies?
I don't collect too much. I did collect UFC cards at one point. So I have like a couple booklets of UFC trading cards. But other than that, not really. I'm not really too into it.
Have you stopped collecting? Or?
Yeah, I haven't really pursued it anymore recently. Just not into it.
You never know who knows who, and I happen to know the PR people at Panini who are now doing the UFC cards.
Okay.
So if you want to get back into it, I can get them to send you some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd be open to it.
It's kind of cool, and then it's like, do I open the box or do I hold the box? Do I hunt for that one particular card? What's the craziest, funniest thing that's ever happened either to you or involving you in the middle of a fight?
In the middle of a fight? Okay, so this is kind of relatable because he also fights in the UFC now. So when I was fighting Charles Jourdain, I believe it was the first or I think it was the second round of our fight. I'd taken him down, and at one point he looks at me. He's like, "Damn, you're heavy." Then that's probably one of the one thing that clicks in my head whenever I think about a moment like that.
Uh-huh.
And then that's not really the first time I got a comment like that. I fought a guy named Andrew Cruz. And after the fight, I was talking to him, and he called me a thick bitch. That's what he called me, word for word. So, but yeah, those are about the two things.
Both of those are somebody saying something to you. What have you said? Have you ever said anything to?
No, it's all business when I'm in there.
Or what are you thinking? Are you thinking? Like a lot of times, and you can relate it to almost anything. You're working in a restaurant. Are you thinking, or are you just reacting?
It's a little bit of both, I'm sure. I mean, it's hard to. When you're in there, it's more reaction. You've trained so much, just like it's like a basketball player shooting 100 or 1,000 free throws. You kind of just you got a pattern. You go with it's repetition, and it's all muscle memory. But there's a thinking side to things too. You make reads throughout a fight, but I also think that's like embedded in your head after a while too. If you're some fighters.
Right. How much thought goes into like your walkout song? And are you listening to it as you're walking, or spacing out, or?
I mean, you definitely listen to it because,
bit.
especially, I've had the same walkout song for quite a bit now, so it's always like, no, it's time to fight now, right? So that's how I think about it.
Funniest, because I was going to say you wouldn't walk out to Celine Dion or something like that. What is like the funniest, craziest, walkout song that you've heard?
Man, I've heard some ridiculous ones though. I feel like the techno shit is like what
he said. Shit, by the way, shit. SHIP.
The techno stuff is the weirdest to me because I don't even know how you get pumped up to that. Really, it's just like electronic dance stuff to me.
Right.
So I don't really know, but. Yeah, I can't really think of a particular song that I've heard that's funny.
Somebody needs to come out to like a love song or Endless Love or just something really like that. It's like throws you off for sure. Give me your thoughts on your opponent.
So Pat Sabatini, I think it's pretty obvious what he's good at, pretty obvious what he's not. He's a really good grappler. That's how he's won all his UFC fights, is grappling people, but I'm a really good grappler too. His stand-up lacks a little bit. I believe that he's a purist in what he does. He doesn't have a very broad spectrum in his game. So I'll definitely, whereas I do have a broad spectrum, so I'll definitely be able to shut him down in the areas he's good, and then be able to expose him in the areas he's weak. He's a very tough opponent, man. He's gotten his arm broken in a fight before, so he's been 3 rounds, he's been title fights, so he's been around. He's got almost 20 professional fights now, but I'm up there too. I got 16 professional fights and a lot more amateur fights than him, I guarantee that. So come Saturday, I'm going to definitely be looking to expose Pat.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if you know who George Gazelle is. He used to fight in the UFC, and I think he's a translator. And he told me the difference once between a translator and an interpreter, and I don't remember. So I don't know which his official title was. And for whatever reason, and I love George, one of my greatest things was I took a George Gazelle gi to Brazil to train. Okay. So to me, I thought that was cool. So I'm not throwing George under the bus when I'm going to ask you this question. George would always want to beat somebody at their best and not him beat them at his best, him being a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he would never do jiu-jitsu. He would always stand and not always win because he's not doing his best. Which is more important to you, beating at using your best or beating him at his best?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the art of war, right? You gotta expose people where they're weak, and I feel like that's something that I've done really good with in my career most of the time, and it's what I plan on doing. I mean, it's more satisfying to beat someone where they're supposed to be good, obviously.
Sure,
right?
sure.
You're proving a lot of people wrong, and you're proving yourself right. But that's not going to be my first go-to. Like, when it comes to the ground on Saturday, I could beat Sabatini there all day, but I'm going to box him up on the feet, you know what I mean? And if it goes to the ground, I'm not going to be scared to go to the ground. Right. But if it goes there, it goes there, right? I'll be ready for that.
And you'll be welcome for it. I can't wait, obviously, for Saturday. So we got in a little discussion, my team, as we've been here all week. So I'm going to ask you guys, what's the two most important things in a hotel room? Like, when you check in, it needs to have what?
I think a good bed, a good mattress, and I don't know what the second one would be.
Well, here's where I'll throw you ours just so you know. Mine was the air conditioner first.
Oh.
I'll sleep on a crappy mattress, but I need the AC. Like, as soon as we get in, I put it at 58.
Yeah.
And
that cold, huh?
Oh, no, it is that cold.
Yeah.
If he's still on the other line, when he came up, he had like 72 blankets on. It was so cold. But the guy who just left, who's part of my team, wanted a clean floor.
Yeah.
I understand a clean floor, but not over an air conditioner that works.
Yeah.
Or a soft bed.
Yeah, so now that you mention that, actually, because one of the biggest faults in most hotel rooms is the thermostat is just either
locked.
It's awful.
Right.
You know what I mean? It can't get any colder, it can't get any hotter. So a thermostat that works in a mattress, I would say top one.
There you go, which is my two. So I'm right. Finally, what can the fans expect? When you get in there on Saturday.
You can expect a really good fight. I'm going to be able to prove a lot to people. It's been a year and a half away from the cage, and I'm just extremely excited to get in there and get my first UFC win. Does
it matter to you? And I know the politically correct answers and stuff. Where you are on the card. Obviously, you want to be later, in the night, but don't you also want to get the fight, get it over with, and get back to the hotel or relax or whatever?
At the end of the day, I fought at like 12:30 at night before. I've been main event more times than I haven't, at this point in my career. So it doesn't really make a difference to me whether you fight first, last. I'm on the main card this Saturday, right. So it works out. I mean, I'm more used to that, I guess, but either way, it doesn't matter. The UFC does everything different. They time every fighter like perfectly, you know what I mean? So right. You're not sitting at the venue for 7 hours that day. You're sitting there for an hour, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference.
Good stuff. TJ, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck on Saturday. We're going to get your address here in a second. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as some really cool socks from Odd Sock Official. I brought a few, so both of you, if you can pick a pair to take today, and then we'll send a box to you as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time, guys. All right, let's go hit our final break of the afternoon. This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong and Staff Zone. We'll be right back.